But anyway, good morning, everybody. I'm Graham Dodge. I'm the executive director at Magic and one of the organizers for 1 Million Cups, joined by my other fellow organizers here this morning. We've got Julia Snap and Russ Hammett. What we usually do is we just kind of do a quick overview of what 1 Million Cups is, and I will pass that on over to Julia Snap and put it in his capable hands to share his screen and tell you all about 1 Million Cups. Julius, go ahead, take it away.
All right, good morning, everybody. Just give me 1 second. All right, is everyone seeing me okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so welcome to 1 Million Cups Westminster. I'm just going to go over some of our core values. Our mission here at 1MC is to lower the barrier for access to education, resources, and connections for entrepreneurs. Without these pillars and our core program, our mission cannot succeed. Some of those pillars, we're looking for presentations, not pitches, and connection, not networking. We want to get to know your business and the challenges that you face so we can connect you to all the resources that our community has to offer. We are for the community and by the community. Nobody has ownership of 1MC Westminster, and nobody is paid to do 1MC Westminster. We are radically and intentionally inclusive. It's really everyone here that makes 1MC Westminster possible, and we're actively looking for new entrepreneurs and business-minded people to connect with. We meet every week, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Typically, we have 2 presenters. Presenters' organizations must be less than 5 years old and willing to ask for help. We always end every presentation with what can we as 1MC Westminster do to help you. And here's our organizing team, and that's it.
Thank you, Julius. So yes, everybody, welcome. And we, without further ado, will go to our first presentation of the morning. This is Rudolph Girls Bookstore with sisters Nikki and Allison, who are the Rudolph Girls presenting. So Nikki or Allison, whichever one of you is presenting, go ahead and share your screen, and you will have command of the meeting, and everybody else please mute while they are presenting. They have about 6 minutes, and then we can add questions in the chat that I can read through after they're done presenting.
Okay, thank you so much. Give me
Good morning.
second to share here. And
Is that a lightsaber that you have now as your
yeah. Everybody should have a lightsaber cursor. Okay. All right, everyone. So is this sharing correctly? This is like this is the best question ever.
You're good.
So we are the Rudolph Girls. My sister Allie and I have been dreaming about opening a bookstore in Westminster for a very, very long time now. And just, at some point during the pandemic, Allie texted me one night and said, "Do you want to just do this?" And I said, "Yes, let's do it." So then we just got the ball rolling, and we have kind of been snowballing ever since. All right, Allie, I'm gonna let you take it away for a couple.
Okay. So we believe that independent bookstores and having a literary element is the heart of a small town. We think that that is incredibly important. And that's part of the reason that we've had this dream for as long as we have, because we believe that an independent bookstore is something that we really need in Westminster. And then at some point, we kind of looked at it and we're like, well, if we think that we need it and we have all these great ideas about what it could be, why shouldn't we just be the ones to do that? So at some point we decided that we know lots of businesses frame the first dollar that they ever made. And at some point when we are putting the finishing touches on our store, our intent is to frame that text. The text exchange that we had that night when we said, let's just do this. And everything sort of happened from there.
So obviously, Allie and I are sisters. We are both teachers. Allie and I have both been teaching our entire careers. And between the two of us, we've taught almost every grade. It says K through 12. I would probably put preschool in there as well. Some of my background has been in Baltimore Head Start programs. So yeah, we're very, very passionate about ELA and English, and just helping people to discover a love of reading, including our own children. And we also understand that that can be a painstaking process as a parent to get your kids to love reading as much as you do. So we are just super, super passionate about reading, about people having access to books and access to new learning, being lifelong learners. And yeah, that's part of why we have decided to do this.
So we will be located in the Winchester Exchange building. We will be on the first floor next to Cultivated. We are really excited to just immediately have such fabulous neighbors. And the space that we have leased is a little bit unique in the building, in that you can access it through that main entrance around the back from the parking lot, but we do also have an additional access point on the side facing 27 and the side of Johansson's that we can use as a way to enter and exit the store when we want to use that. But one thing we're excited about is that we also have the opportunity to put signage there and reach more folks. And it will also be extremely walkable on Saturday mornings for a good part of the year for folks who are over at the farmer's market, could just pop over and enter the bookstore right there on that side entrance. So from the beginning, when we were looking at space, Nick and I knew that we wanted to be in downtown Westminster. There were some very well-meaning, fabulous people who suggested some other locations to us, but we knew that feeling like the bookstore can be the heart of a community, we wanted to be in the heart of downtown. So we feel very fortunate to have found a space that is right there where we want to be and where we envisioned the store being from the very beginning. So obviously we are going to sell books. We intend to at least start out doing only new books. There are a few other access points in Westminster for used books. And we're going to start out just doing new books. And I know that, sometimes when we talk about how we're teachers, there's a focus on kids, but we intend to do all genres of books, kids and adults alike. And we will have both an in-store and an online component for the books. I'll talk in a second about some of the other items we intend to sell, but online we will only be selling books, and folks will have the opportunity to do curbside pickup in store, have things delivered to them. And one thing we're really excited to make sure that people know is that we'll also have the opportunity to special order books for someone. Like if we don't have a book in store, we'll be able to special order it for someone and have it within 24 to 48 hours. So it, feels like that's a good option when you're thinking about Amazon and that kind of thing.
Okay. So we just got like a 1 minute.
Yep, I saw
warning.
that. So, and then we will also plan to carry lots of book themed items. We refer to that as all of the bookish things when we're thinking about all the other things we'll carry.
Absolutely.
And that's just a list of some of the different types of events that we will do. We're especially excited about those two at the end. So if you have questions about that when we're done, we're happy to answer those.
Okay. So we have been online already. So we do have a Facebook presence, Twitter and Instagram, and our hashtag that we are using is My Bookstore. We really want this to be a bookstore that people are proud to call their own in Westminster. We have put out a survey. We've already gotten about 130 responses to our survey about what kinds of books people want to see, what kinds of programming and other sideline items they would like to see in the store. So using that data to inform a lot of our decisions. And then finally, just continuing with our presence, we have decided to enter the Peep Show. So we're going to be part of the Peep Show at the mall this year. We have a My Bookstore t-shirt that we are selling right now on bonfire.com. And we are going to be obviously using the money that we get from that campaign to fund our startup. And I'll put a link to that in the chat if anybody thinks that t-shirt's super cute and you want to go buy one. There are also hoodies, Graham. So I see you're a hoodie guy. So you can get yourself a Rudolph Girls hoodie. We also plan on entering the Carol Biz Challenge this year. So, yeah. All right, did we make it?
Made it. Thank you very
Okay.
much, Nikki and Allie. Excellent presentation. Yes, so, I mean, I think you're one of the most anticipated startups in Westminster. So, as evidenced by this turnout today. So thank you very much for presenting. Let me go right to the chat history here and see what we've got. Mike McMullen from the Carroll County Chamber of Commerce already suggested that you should apply for the Carroll Biz Challenge. They have a grand prize of $10,000 in cash this year, plus other great things, and you were obviously already doing that, so excellent. Tina Thomas recognizes that we had an independent bookstore in Westminster on Main Street before, and she's thankful to you for bringing that back. Yes, I think everyone, I speak on behalf of everybody in Westminster for thank you for bringing back an actual independent bookstore to the area. Let's see here. Mike, actually from the chamber, also he's recalling that Locust Books used to be in the location where the chamber is now, in the Winchester Exchange building. So you're obviously part of a heritage there of having bookstores at Winchester Exchange. Tamar Osterman from Maryland Economic Development. Thank you for joining, Tamar. She says she recommends speaking with the owners of Curious Iguana in downtown Frederick. The store has been very successful, and Marlene England would be generous with guidance. So reach out to Tamar, and she has her LinkedIn information in the channel here as well.
Thank you.
And she can connect you with Marlene. Heather Cole says she's very excited for a bookstore. Yes. Please be sure to apply for a, this is from Josh Ambrose of Johns Hopkins and Hey Westminster. He says, please be sure to apply for a Hey Westminster grant. That is a grant to get $1,000 for doing something awesome in the city of Westminster. So he provided the link there. That goes for anybody else who's in Westminster, who's doing something awesome. You should definitely apply for Hey Westminster and for the Carroll Biz Challenge. Let's see, Bonfire. We have the link from Nikki. Thank you, Nikki, for that link. For anyone who wants to buy a t-shirt or hoodie in support of Rudolph Girls. And they have lots of great color options, I've noticed. So there's something for everybody. Kim Samuelson from Magic. She says she can't wait to browse your book selection. All right, our first question. Josh Ambrose asks, what's your biggest challenge in starting up, and what is your biggest 5-year challenge of sustaining the business? Have Allie, Nikki, have either of you thought about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say our number one challenge right now is just money, right? That's any startup's probably biggest challenge, is just finding the funding that we need to get our starting inventory. That's a big one. We keep seeing like all of these fluctuating numbers. We're already members of the American Booksellers Association, and it seems like every day somebody has a different number that they're giving to us about like, okay, you know, you have 1,000 square feet, you need, you know, $55,000 in starting inventory. Some people say you need $20,000. Some people say, oh, you know, start small, you know, start with $15,000 worth of inventory. So we're just kind of like, our heads are spinning like, well, how much is it, you know, so we can make an educated decision, you know, when we're writing our business plan about how much money we're actually going to need to start this business. So I would say money definitely is the biggest challenge right now. And also, you know, just maintaining that level of courage that you need to be able to do this. You know, we're up all night, most nights, just thinking about all the what ifs, and you know, and then also just all of the great ideas that we keep coming up with and texting each other in the middle of the night and writing down and all of that. So yes.
And I think one thing that when Josh, when you ask about 5 years from now, that I think will be much easier than it is now, is that when we talk about that starting inventory and wanting to carry all genres of books, we're not Barnes and Noble, and we are not going to be anywhere near the size of a Barnes and Noble. So when we want to carry some of everything, we still have to be very specific about what that is. And that's a huge challenge right now. But I really look forward to a year or so from now, looking at those inventory lists and knowing, oh, I think Tina would really like this book. And I think, you know, oh, Julius read that, and he kind of, you know, he and this group like books like this, so we're going to get more of these. Like, as we get to know the folks in the community and they come in and we have those conversations about books, I think that's something that will be significantly easier as part of our 5-year plan, as we get to know our customers and what people enjoy reading and what, you know, we think that we could introduce them to that they would like.
Did either of you get an email back from Penguin Random House after I made that intro?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
no, I mean, I kind of reached out on my own, and we are now kind of like linked in with a new store team. They actually have a whole team at Penguin Random House that's for new stores. But until we are ready to, you know, pull the trigger and make that first order, they're kind of like, you know, we don't really want to talk to us yet.
I think Graham's intro had been with the local folks here in Westminster, and no, we have not connected with them yet.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
yeah.
and to other people on the channel here, anybody else who has an introduction to Penguin Random House, my thinking was, you know, they work with Carroll Community College on the big book fair once a year. Maybe there are smaller events or author signings that they could, you know, knowing that there's a local bookstore now that's going to be on Main Street, maybe they could be more involved and supportive of that effort. So anybody else here who knows someone from Penguin Random House?
Yes, when it comes to Penguin Random House, I worked there for a little while, and employees get their pick of 5 to 10 books a month. And so many employees have just kind of like picked through all of the inventory they have at a given time that they donate their picks to schools and things of that nature. So that may be a talking point for you at Penguin Random House, to say, is there a group of employees who are consistently looking to donate new books that they get to pick for that.
Thank you.
That's very insightful. I had no idea. I didn't know you were at Penguin Random House either, so that's good to know. All right, and actually Tina also in the chat here suggested, have you considered pre-sales to help fund, since you are going to be selling online as well? Are you actually able to do pre-sales of books yet?
Not right this minute, but I would think that as we get closer, we will be able to do that.
Okay, great. Let's see. Josh Ambrose from Johns Hopkins says, agreed with Tina, might be a fun Kickstarter, a way to do a Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign. He also says, and Josh used to work at McDaniel, he says, reach out to ceo.mcdaniel.edu and ose.mcdaniel.edu. They are excited that you are coming to Westminster. Tamar, thank you, Tamar, for your comments. She's commenting about Penguin Random House. She says that she did work with them on their expansion and she could probably help with the connection, and she provided her email address for you there. So excellent. That's, yeah, there you go. That's what this is all about. So I would love to hear you guys talk about, about your branding, because we had this conversation early on. I think it might be kind of interesting for people to understand how you arrived at Rudolph Girls.
Well, I'll let Allie talk about the name, and then I can
Okay.
talk about kind of the logo and the other things.
We probably brainstormed every possible name you could come up with for a bookstore. We had alliteration, we had puns, we had everything you could possibly think of. And Rudolph Girls was always on the list, but then we would go back to all of these punny names and that had book in them somewhere or from literary quotes. And then one morning I came back from a run and I texted Nick and I was like, these are all the reasons we need to use this name. And the main reason is Nick and I were raised by a single mom, and our entire lives we have been the Rudolph Girls. It is how every gift card got signed from the three of us. It is how we got invited to Thanksgiving and Christmas anywhere. Are the Rudolph Girls coming? We have always been the Rudolph Girls. So that to me is just, that's where our strength comes from. That's where the love and respect that we have for one another comes from. And when you say like, what are the most challenging things that we have both now and 5 years from now, that's the reason we'll be able to handle all of those.
That's
Absolutely.
great. I love that.
Yeah, we got our logo for free. I have I have a very, very dear friend of mine who is in the marketing business, and I went to him right away just for advice. And he was like, well, I'll just like mock up a couple of things for you just for fun. And then you can hire a graphic designer and you guys can do whatever you want. And then what he ended up coming up with, he was like, all of the fonts that I use for this are free and it's super cute. Like just use it, you know, now you have a free logo. So that's how we came to that. And we wanted something that we would be able to kind of like plaster on everything. We plan on doing stamps on our shopping bags, kind of the way Jeannie Bird does. And it makes like a really good little stamp. And it just like looks like us. So we're just we're excited about it.
I'm just going to comment too that I know I've told you this already, but as a parent of 5 kids, I'm hoping you sell candy as well, because there's no candy. I know you're in your survey, you're asking like, what other things should we sell? So if anybody else thinks they should sell candy, please put it in the chat so that I have more clout. Let's see, we have.
Because I already told Nick when we saw candy as one of the suggestions, I texted her and I said, that one came from Graham. Graham really wants the candy.
Books and candy, I don't know why, I think they're good. Anyway, so Tina Thomas from Infinite Love Project, she asks, what is your target open date? And is there going to be a ribbon cutting in collaboration with the Chamber of Commerce?
So we don't have like a hard date in mind, but we keep focusing on August. Allie and I have 4 children between the 2 of us, and 3 of them were born in August. So we kind of feel like that's a lucky month for us to birth things. So we're going to shoot for August 2021. And we have also been kind of tossing around the idea of doing kind of like a soft open and then a grand opening as well. So we will be, wow, the chat is really just, it's all about candy right now. So I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't know if candy's going to happen, but I hope that doesn't like, you know, sway anybody one way or the other. But so yes, so we are planning on August, and we are also planning to do something, you know, kind of big to celebrate.
Excellent. Well, you've got some more references to Penguin Random House here in the chat from Mike McMullen. Tina from Infinite Love loves the logo, you know, your branding decision being from the heart. Everyone seems to agree. Kim Samuelson says, my 2 sisters were raised by a single mom as well, and we were always Janice and her girls. So yeah, I think this is resonating really well with everybody, you know, both because it's a bookstore and both because of the branding. So you really did a great job pulling that together. And let's see what else here. Jennifer Young from Covalent Spirits says, definitely share your story when you market your business. It definitely will draw in supporters. People will love that. It's what makes a community-based business special. Exactly, Jennifer. Thank you. And lots of votes for Candy. I'm sure you're seeing that too. So I'm not going to belabor that. Julius Knapp from Dirigible Systems and a fellow organizer here at 1 Million Cups says, love this idea as a former Borders employee. I didn't know that about you, Julius, and patron. I think the importance of the local bookstore as a place for the community to meet and share ideas is grossly underrated. I'll be rooting for you. Curious if you've looked for any local authors to speak to do readings yet, or to speak to the community. Any local authors you've connected with?
We have had some reach out to us through our social media that we've already done, which is awesome. And we plan to look for more. And we've also, we had a meeting last week with the folks at the Carroll County Public Library and specifically the Westminster branch to talk about how we can work with them on these events as well.
That's great. Yeah. And the book club idea, I think, you know, there's a lot of that you can do to build the business around, as you already mentioned, you know, coming up with like identifying what are the books the community is looking for. And I would assume that one of the, you know, focal points for that will be the different book clubs in town. And I think helping people start book clubs and offering that, not to use a buzz term, but sort of concierge service that you've heard me use that term when I was talking to you before. That's something I think could actually be very different from just being an independent bookstore. You have this element to be able to curate book clubs and book lists and things like that, that I think could give you a wider online presence as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let's see here. We're getting close to time. Jennifer Young also says eventually you can look into partnering with other local businesses to cross promote, for example, yoga, the running store, take advantage of their marketing network. So yes, if you have not yet connected with other Main Street businesses, I'm sure you can do that through the chamber. And I know that there's some other Main Street groups. I know Josh Ambrose is involved in some of them on this call. So if anybody has any other referrals for the Rudolph Girls here to connect with other businesses, please include that in the chat too. And we will be able to share this chat with them as a text
I was
file.
going to ask that. Okay, thank you.
So you'll get a
Thank you
copy
so
of that.
much.
And Carl Ladler from Dynamic Dimension Technology says our neighbor Nihar Arapathu, I hope I pronounced that right, is a senior director of IT at Penguin Random House, another Penguin Random House connection.
Wonderful.
Excellent, thank you, Carl.
Awesome,
So,
thank you.
Tiambe Page from Cultivated says, so super excited to have these ladies as my new neighbors. So the love, you know, it's all there. You know, so welcome to Westminster. Obviously, the whole community here is supportive of this. So thank you very much for presenting today.
Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So let's transition now to our next presenters. Thank you very much, Nikki and Allie. Great job. I will just do a couple of quick sponsor messages as we tee up Derek from Flave. We are, my organization, Magic, is a community sponsor for 1 Million Cups. We do economic development and workforce development here in the city of Westminster. Work on lots of innovative projects. You can go to magicinc.org to learn more about Magic. All of our presenters at 1 Million Cups get a handsome, I don't know if my green screen's messing with it, a handsome ceramic mug. So if you have presented and you have not yet gotten this mug, please let me know. We'll send it to you. Tamar Osterman is showing off her travel mug. Now, if you attend 5 of these 1 Million Cups meetings in a row, you get a free 1 Million Cups travel mug. And now, if you attend 10 in a row, you get a 1 Million Cups t-shirt, and they're just out of reach for me right now, so I can't show you, but they're very attractive as well. And thank you again to our coffee sponsor. When these meetings go back to being in person, there will be coffee, and 1 Million Cups refers to the amount of cups of coffee it takes for an entrepreneur to launch a startup and succeed. So we have our local roaster here in town, Furnace Hills Coffee. They provide 25% discount to your entire online order for their coffee. So we highly recommend you use our discount code here that I just pasted in the chat again, and go to furnacehills.com and use the discount code 1MC Westminster for 25% off. All right, so thank you very much. Let's go to our next presentation. Derek from Flave, are you there?
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning. So go ahead and share your screen. The rest of us will go on mute, and we'll wait for questions at the end.
My partner's here. He's gonna give it a share.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joel, by the way. I'm the other half of Flave.
Good morning, Joel. Thanks for joining.
Morning. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Are we good, everybody, for the share? Good to go? All right, we can get cracking then. So, hey everybody. So, like Graham mentioned, I'm Derek, and I'm here along with my partner Jaw, and we're Flave. So last year around this time, me and Jaw, it was a couple weeks until we kind of got put on kind of got locked up with quarantine. But prior to that, we were thoroughly enjoying eating out at our favorite local restaurants, eating Obey wings and crab cake sandwiches. If you fast forward to today, one of our partnering restaurants literally just emailed me and said we're reopening. So I'm like, wow, that really just told a story of how hard the restaurant industry has been impacted. And this kind of made us take a look at the industry as a whole. So prior to COVID, we discovered that the average American was eating out roughly 6 times a week, and the industry was generating over $1 trillion. So as we all know, it's a massive market. But nowadays, restaurant sales have fallen by $240 billion. Of the 72% that have closed, the owners admit that they'll unfortunately be closed for good. And overwhelmingly, 6 out of 10 adults view these businesses as essential to our lives. But slowly but surely, hopefully we can benefit from them. But largely, we're not really reaping the benefits.
So I can take it
So,
from here. So
yeah, go ahead.
a lot of these apps that people view as helping the restaurant industry are not helping the restaurant industry the same way that you think. So Yelp can charge a restaurant up to $700 for ad placement. An OpenTable, the reservation system, can cost about $700 for ads, and they charge a per reservation fee as well. So a lot of these third-party delivery services that everyone's talking about now, such as DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Postmates, although they're necessary during COVID times, they can take anywhere between 25 and 30% of each transaction, which basically makes the restaurant break even or lose a little bit of money. So we saw an opportunity. We want to combine the altruistic concepts of GoFundMe with the restaurant industry to form our app Flave. So Flave, this is our MVP that we currently have. So we have a map and it has every local restaurant in Baltimore pinned to that map. So we're not in Westminster yet, but we will make our way out to Frederick and Westminster pretty soon. So right now in Baltimore, we have every local restaurant pinned on that map. And inside of each pin is a point value that ranges from 10 to 100. If you dine in or order takeout from any local restaurant in Baltimore, you take a picture of your food to verify that you ate there, we will reward you with that point value, and we call it Flave Cash. So over time, as you're eating and supporting local, you accumulate Flave Cash and store it in your wallet. With the Flave Cash that's in your wallet, you can do one of two things with it. The first is that you can redeem it for a deal at one of our partner restaurants. We have 13 partnering restaurants that we've made deals with in the city of Baltimore. All of those deals benefit the restaurants that we partnered with, by the way. The second thing that you can do is if the deals don't really get you excited or you're not interested in the deals, you can actually take your excess Flave Cash and you can donate it to a restaurant of your choice. So over time, restaurants accumulate donations. And once they hit 1,000, we buy a gift card from that restaurant and we give it to a high earner on our leaderboard. So how do we make money? So we actually want to be the Patreon for local restaurants. So the same way you think of Patreon now with creators, essentially if you can subscribe to an artist and that artist will provide art or they'll provide music or dance or whatever it is, we want to provide the same thing for local restaurants. So users can subscribe to their favorite restaurants and those restaurants will provide them exclusive deals, giveaways, and events. We will then take that money and we will give half of it to the restaurant and we'll keep the other half. So this is 100% free for the restaurant and actually a way for them to make money.
Yeah, to double click on what I said before, we're hoping that the restaurant industry can get back to that massive market cap that we previously seen. To kick things off, we're really targeting folks between ages 22 to 34, but what we're discovering with our initial beta that Joel will touch on, everybody kind of really likes Flave, so we're still in that point where we're trying to assess our target market. Competitively, when we mention Flave, folks are like, hey, what about OpenTable, Yelp, and Google Maps? How do they play into the fold? But what we do, we're gamifying the dining experience in a unique way, unlike these other companies. They don't solely benefit the local restaurant industry. They don't have a rewards platform like we do. OpenTable does, but it's really hard to get the rewards, so they're not really helping. And we have a layer of socialization as well. To hit the market, we're going to partner with public works organizations like Waste Management, social sports leagues like Bolo City, and we're open ears to anybody who wants to work with us. We're not looking for a payment. We're just looking to get the word out and help our allies. We've had some success partnering with the foodie influencers who wave a big magic wand somehow in the Instagram space, and people love their content. And also our partnering restaurants. They're like, hey, when you guys are ready, give us some flyers or marketing material to place in our third-party delivery bags, and we can easily get the word out.
So our strategy for the market was actually kickstarted by all the press that we got. So in late December, early January, we were on the news and we were featured in the Baltimore Business Journal and Technically. So this was great in order to source a lot of restaurants. They all came to us and we got a lot of cool organic partnerships from this as well. So our timeline, just so everyone knows, we were founded at the beginning of January. This is pre-COVID. So we were trying to support local before it was cool to support local. We participated in Towson's Accelerator program this summer. We just released our beta app for iOS, so feel free to download it for those who want it. We just released that a couple weeks ago, and we're soon going to be on the App Store. We plan on doing our public launch probably in the next couple weeks into a month. Getting some increased adoption, so a lot of monthly active users and downloads. And then we plan on raising like a family or pre-seed round by the time end of the summer rolls around. And we are also in Johns Hopkins Accelerator program as well under Josh Ambrose, who's in this call. So our team is 2 co-founders. There's myself, who's focused on more of the design and engineering and development of the application. There's Derek, who everyone's heard. He's focused on sales and marketing. And we also have one advisor. His name is Ethan Gar. And he was the co-founder of an app called RoboKiller. And at the time that he sold it, it was the #1 app on the iOS App Store. So feel free to contact us. If you want to sign up for our beta, I'll kick you out a link right after you sign up. You can go to flave.app in your browser. This is also a direct link. If this deck ever goes out, this is a direct link to our test flight, so we can send it to you as well. And then Derek and I both have our emails. So if you ever want to reach out to us or have any suggestions, we're always open to having a conversation. So thank you all for the time, and I hope you all are ready to taste the town.
Thank you very much, Derek and Joel. That was a great presentation. Very succinct, very professional. So, you know, what we also are supposed to do, and I forgot to do it in the last call, is ask our presenters, what can our community do for you? So before I forget, let me just go ahead and start with that question. What can our community at 1MC Westminster do for you? And keep in mind, we've got representation from all over the state here, but also, you know, obviously our local community. So please let us know what we can do.
I can jump in real quick. So one of the things that we plan on doing right now, like I mentioned, we're in Baltimore. So we're trying to really own that market and figure out like kind of the kinks. If there's anything we're doing wrong or there's things that are doing good, we really want to try to achieve product market fit in Baltimore. Once we do that, which we hope won't be too long, we plan on expanding. We know that the foodie, like we've been to Frederick a few times and we've been to Westminster a few times, and we know like a lot of those cool local spots that exist out there, and our product is predicated on helping them. So one of the things that we would love to do is like in the summertime or in the early fall, we plan on expanding out west from us at least. So we would love to go talk to some of these restaurant owners and get them signed up on Flave. It's free to them, and it's actually a cool way for them to market for free. So we would love to get in contact if you know any local restaurant owners in any way. That would be awesome.
Well, yeah, that's what I would suggest is that, you know, we are a pretty tight-knit community out here in Westminster. And I would say that definitely, you know, to get the full cloud of the community support out here, we would love to be able to start adding restaurants to your app that are out here. And I've lived in LA, I've lived in near San Francisco and Silicon Valley, I've lived in Baltimore, I lived in Kansas City. I have to say, Westminster is actually a burgeoning foodie town with quite a few really, really great restaurants that are gems out here. And people on the Westminster online community on Facebook are always asking each other for recommendations of new places to eat. So, and that's like that community's got like 20,000 members right now.
Wow.
So definitely, like if there's anything that we can do, anyone here on this call who knows a restaurateur, I know I can introduce you to Bernie who's downstairs from us here, who has Genie Bird Bakery. He's got people like Spike Gearty from Woodbury Kitchen coming out to speak with him and meet with him and stuff. And they have those kinds of collaborations. So think of Westminster as West Baltimore when it comes to the foodie community. Okay, so now I'm going to the chat here. Josh Ambrose from Johns Hopkins, who you obviously know, he is dropping your link there. He's wondering how your product could help people who are outside the city discover what's inside the city. That's a great point, Josh. So maybe there are ways that we can all share the Flave app out here as something that if you're going into town, because that can be intimidating for people who don't live in the city, where should I eat? Where's a good restaurant? This could be a great app that we can all recommend throughout our community for discovering those restaurants in Baltimore. So that might be another marketing angle for you guys too, as you expand, your or create your marketing segments.
That'd be incredible. Yeah, one of the things that we found out is that, we talked to Visit Baltimore because we wanted to get, potentially visitors that come to Baltimore. Hey, this is a cool place to find the local gems as opposed to eating at the Cheesecake Factory or going on Yelp and scrolling there or going on Google Maps and finding what's nearby. So these are definitely, it's definitely an idea that we vetted, but we actually haven't looked outside of the city to say, hey, people who are coming into Baltimore, this is a cool way for you to discover local.
Excellent. Yes. And Mike,
go
ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to also add to that, Graham. So we're adding some interesting filters that can probably appeal to some folks. So we're now going to just have a layer on the map where if you want to look for just Black-owned businesses, LGBTQ friendly, women-owned, veteran-owned. So if you're coming in, or wherever you're going, if you're just looking for like a distinct restaurant that fits into like a specialty category, then hopefully like Flave can be that point of reference for you. Like, okay, like this is a veteran-owned business. I want to eat there. Let's go. So we think that like adding to that discovery piece should be helpful on that lens.
Excellent. Great point. Mike McMullen from the Carroll County Chamber of Commerce says that they host and coordinate the Carroll County Restaurant Week in August for the past 10 years. So reach out to him. He has his phone number there, 410-977-3111, to reach out and see if there's anything you guys can do together to coordinate some cross promotion during Restaurant Week out here.
That'd be awesome.
Let's see. Josh Ambrose says, I've heard Jennifer Young knows a thing or two about restaurants. Jennifer, you're being called out as a foodie. She realizes that. She's smiling. And she also adds, I do love the restaurants and food industry. Happy to make introductions and provide input in Westminster and elsewhere. Just so you know, Jennifer is opening up a micro distillery. Is that what we can call it? Called Covalent Spirits here in Westminster. And it's going to change the distillery landscape in Maryland and make Westminster even more of a destination with our own distillery, which we haven't had in like 100 years or something.
It's 1960, 1970.
Okay, about 100 years. And Russ Hammett from 1 Million Cups, who's one of our fellow organizers who sets up the call for us every week. He says we still need Vietnamese, Indian, and dim sum restaurants out here in Westminster. So maybe as we get more foodie attention out here, more restaurateurs in those categories will open up. We do have plenty of Thai restaurants though, and Chinese restaurants are pretty decent.
It's not real Chinese, Graham.
I know. I knew you were going to say that.
Believe me, I've been asked if I would consider opening a restaurant instead of a distillery here. I decided to go the distillery route, but yes, there's interest here for more food options. Eventually, hopefully, I'll be here soon.
Well, and I'm always surprised when people I talk to are asking for restaurant recommendations that they haven't heard of some of the places here. Like we have for Mexican especially, we have Taqueria El Guacamole on 140, which is great. I was just there for lunch yesterday. And this is all going to turn into just a restaurant conversation, by the way, Derek and Joel.
No, this is fine. This is
and Del Huerta, which of course has the laundromat and the grocery store next to it, that are all also called Del Huerta. These are great places. I mean, again, I don't mean to keep dropping the fact that I've lived in other places, but living in Southern California for 10 years, I've had Mexican, and my goodness, the Mexican restaurants out here are as good, if not better, than some of the restaurants that I've been to in Los Angeles. So I'm gonna go ahead and just say that right now. All right. Anybody else have any questions for Derek and Joel while we've got them here? How about in terms of the app development? Like, what else do you have left to do? Like, what do you need a technical help in terms of app development and distribution?
As
That's a dumb
wild as
question.
it sounds, we actually don't need it. I made the iOS app, so I was fortunate enough to come in with that background. We also have like a stud Android developer who's helping with a lot, and two of my former students are also pitching in and helping as well. So the early stage grind of finding the right developers to make an app has actually not been one of our issues. We've just been looking for a small amount of funds for marketing and things like that. Like Derek talked about some of the partnerships we want to do, and being able to spread the word. It is an expensive task to be able to do that in an effective manner. So that's one of the things that we've actually found a little bit more challenging, is just getting the right funds to be able to go to, expand to different cities and things like that has sort of been, what we've been looking for. We don't need a ton of money, but we're looking for the right funds to be able to do so.
And so many startups have the opposite problem, where they're
Yeah.
searching for development help and they need that and they can't find it. So it's great that you guys have that on your founding team. So speaking of your founding team, how does your education at Johns Hopkins play into this?
it's, it's been so helpful, honestly. Like I try to keep some humility with it, but like getting an MBA for me, if I wasn't applying with Flave, it'd almost be like taking Spanish in high school and never going to Latin America. In some sense, like you have to be able to apply like you're learning. And so like Flave has seen like a lot of up and downs, but basically the content that I've learned through school has really helped us kind of work through some of the hurdles that we've been facing. So it's been really good, I would say.
That's excellent. Jarl, do you have anything to add to that in terms of your own
Yeah,
experience?
I guess I graduated a while ago. So I graduated in 2017 from Hopkins. So I'm the grizzled vet, I guess, of the Hopkins alum. But it has been helpful for me I was on the other side. So he was in the business school, I was in the engineering school. So it's been helpful for me as well. I did it, 4 years ago. I think now I graduated 4 years ago. So it's been helpful for me, some of those connections. I actually teach at Hopkins now. So I teach in the program that Derek is in. Just one class, so I'm just an adjunct there. But that's also been helpful as well, because I get to vet my product out to a lot of students that are similar age to me, and get a lot of good feedback that way. So it's been helpful for Derek and I for two very different reasons, and I think combined it's really helped to kind of get us where we are today.
Jennifer's commenting that 2017 is not a while ago.
Look, if 1960 was 100 years ago, then maybe it is.
There you go. Right. I think I set the bar there. So in terms of other things that we can do, I think it makes sense that if we can share the link, we can go on our mutual Facebook pages, tell everyone about the Flave app, tell them to download the demo or the what do you call it? The not trial version.
Our beta,
Beta. Sorry, the beta. And to support you guys any way we can. And if we can start dropping pins, so to speak, for restaurants out here, obviously that's going to be something that I think our community is going to want to be able to help with. Is there a way to add a restaurant in the app or send a sign up link to a business owner?
I'm so glad you mentioned that. It's not in there right now, but we have it prioritized to be done. So one of the issues we found is that, we have a few missing restaurants. It's just inherently going to happen. There's smaller places that we might miss. And right now there's like a easy way to kind of submit it within the app. You can type in what the restaurant is, what the neighborhood is, and give us your name so that we can contact you back in case. But then we add it. I basically post it in a channel and Derek will add it within, 10 or 15 minutes. Now we're going to have a way that you can automatically add it, so you can user generate it, and we'll also reward you for doing that. So if you find restaurants that we're missing, we will give you Flave Cash for doing so.
And Russ is asking, are you able to leverage the Yelp API at all for adding listings to your own app?
Yes, we use the Yelp API to get started. Also, Google Maps has an API that's publicly available. So we basically combined the two, and that was like our starting map. And then Derek can probably speak to this, but we also bought a database that had like every local business. We filtered out all the chains. We filtered out anything that wasn't a restaurant and kind of used that as a starting point. So we were about like 90 or 95% accurate just from that start. And then crowdsourcing and like finding over time, we have a few like power users within the app. They've really helped uncover some of the gems that we might have missed.
I think we got a question from Tina.
Oh yes, Tina is asking, does that mean the restaurant does not need to approve being on the app to be listed?
Yes, so you can go
Flame
to
pit.
any local restaurant, and whether you dine in or delivery or takeout, as long as you take a photo of your food, we give you the Flave cash. But our partnering restaurants basically have like a higher point value on the map, which hopefully is an incentive for people to go there, and they're giving us a deal. So any restaurant you can support and still get our microcurrency, the Flave cash, but you can use that at our partnering restaurants, or you can pledge it to any restaurant as well, which will trigger a gift card.
Yeah, and also I'm reminded back in my sick weather days, we used to use the Foursquare API to find restaurant listings and just organization listings and addresses. So I know that I don't know if they still are operating, but
Yeah, I don't. We kind of went down that that hole as well, but we feel like it's just been tough. Even scraping Google Maps and Yelp's API, the accuracy was just so many closures. It's and new openings, which is good. It's been tough. I wanted to add also, Graham, you brought up the Facebook pages. That would be a huge help for us. One of the things that we're facing is just, me and Joel, we built this from scratch. I'm a student, and so going into the Facebook pages and the groups, like it's a level of comfort. Like we don't want to spam like a healthy Facebook group. Like, hey, check out this new app. Everybody already sees a ton of ads and stuff. But what we find is that like when our local friends or people who really believe in flavor doing it, it's a little bit more organic, and people are more willing to just, give it a look. So that in terms of our go-to-market, when we're looking to get up to Westminster and what have you, that'll be a big help.
excellent. And then how about funding conversations? Have you talked to anybody? I know it's in your roadmap to get to that point, but and I know Jack Shammel's about to jump off, but in terms of like TEDCO, I mean, have you guys looked at that? Have you been introduced to at least all the different angel and seed funds that are out here?
We didn't
So
talk to
we're-
all of them yet,
okay.
but we talked to TEDCO. We talked to Frank and Bill. I believe they're a part of TEDCO. We talked to them actually like 3 or 4 weeks ago. We're definitely a little early for like a seed fund round. Like we're pre-revenue, right? So we're pretty early for that stage. But they have a builders fund, which they kind of talked to us for a while about and said that we were good candidates for. So that's something that Derek and I are actively working towards. We've talked to a decent amount. The Dingman Angels, if those ring a bell. We talked to A-Level Capital, which is a part of Johns Hopkins. There's a couple others. I mean, a couple professors actually at Johns Hopkins we talked to. So we do have a few like pledged funds, but we also don't want to use it yet. Like we don't want to accept any capital yet from until we have like a clear path of like we'll spend X amount of dollars and have X amount of growth. I think that would be sort of the responsible thing to do for our end. And right now we don't need it for development, so we can kind of growth hack marketing in the meantime.
That's great.
We've been thankful to be, and fast forward.
Fast forward has helped a ton, yeah.
With Josh, has been
Actually,
a
so.
big help. Yeah.
Well, and when you are ready to start raising, let us know, because we're organizing a new deal flow newsletter for accredited investors out here in Carroll County and the sort of central Maryland region. So we will be able to start sharing investment opportunities and startups with them. So yeah, let us know too.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
That would be incredible. Yeah. We used to go out to Carroll County. We worked with Byteline. They used to be in
Oh yeah,
Carroll.
Byteline. Yep. We work a lot with them as well.
Terry, we're very close with Terry. So we would come out. I went out to Carroll County a few times. This is like in 2018. That was like the only time I really went out to Carroll County like consistently. They worked out of a small house, so I was in there pretty frequently.
Yeah, I think they're in Baltimore County now, right?
They're in Timonium, which is like just
Timonium, Hunt Valley. Yeah.
Yep, that's Kim from Magic. Yep, they've sponsored some of Magic's events.
Oh, cool.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for your presentation. If there's no other questions, we can go ahead and give everyone a few more minutes of their day back. And thank you to everybody for joining this call today and learning more about Rudolph Girls and more about Flave app. Again, the Rudolph Girls, they're looking for people to buy those t-shirts and join their Facebook page. So if you haven't done that yet, go do that. Flave app, let's get that link out there on social media, help support them, help share the beta version of their app online, and start making some introductions for them to our local restaurateurs out here in Westminster and Carroll County. Everybody else, thank you very much again. we'll be back next week with, we're not exactly sure what it's going to be, but we're going to have another presentation next week. And then the week after that, we do have 2 more presentations lined up. So stay posted and be sure to follow our group on our website at 1millioncups.com/Westminster so you can get the email updates from us. All right, Derek, Jal, and on behalf of Rudolph Girls, thank you guys, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.